doesn't it? Like a motorbike. And of course, adults can have fun on it too, and maybe even get places. So let's find out if it's any good. Hello, welcome back to the channel, and we are on the A-Spadz Cavat Air. There's a Cavat and there's a Cavat Air. This one has got room for 2 people. The other one, a bit more expensive, no room for some reason, bigger battery. More on that later. But what we've got here is a very cool looking little mini motorbike, basically. It looks like one anyway, but one that the kids can ride. Not too young though, 14 at least. But of course, it is still an e-bike. Firstly, I've noticed from the tyres that A-Spadz, weird kind of name, I think it's meant to be short for A-Spadz. And that is not something you can do on a motorbike like this, because this is fully legal. I really wanted to get off and pose, but that would have taken the piss. Oh no, right. I've got a cadence sensor, bag mine, which means it's going to be hard to pull away. Oh, I should have gone there. Come on. Right, let's get going. Right, it kicks in pretty quick for a cadence sensor, which is nice. Anyway, yes. What they've gone for here is a totally legal e-bike. So the motor is 250 watts. It is fully locked down, limited to 15.5 miles an hour. We'll see later if we can pedal much faster than that. There is no throttle, so it's all pedal assist. And as I said, it's a cadence sensor, which means as soon as you start pedaling, it recognises that you're pedaling and kicks in the power, and it gives you 100% power, rather than the torque sensor, which will kind of try and recognise how hard you're pushing and regulate the power accordingly. However, I'm glad it's a cadence sensor on this one, because I don't really, this kind of bike is a cruising, low effort bike. You don't want to have to be putting a lot of effort in on a bike like this, so I'm glad it gives you all the power. Right, I'm at the lights. I've knocked it down a gear. Let's see how it does when you pull away. Top tip, you can also push a bit on your leg on the floor, because of course you can easily reach the floor. Right, one, okay, about half a turn, maybe a bit over half a turn, and it goes all right. Right, worst road in Wolverhampton. We've got no rear suspension, we've got front suspension, not lockable. But we've got those big A-Spadz fat tyres, 4 inches wide, 20 inch diameter, but also not the knobbly tread you often get, but a low rolling resistance tread, so hopefully that's going to help the range. But it does feel very comfortable. I probably wouldn't expect rear suspension on a bike at this price. It's about just over €1,000, which I know is still a lot of money, but for a bike like this, it's fairly cheap. I think, to be fair, most of the comfort work is being done by the big fat tyres. But we're getting up the hill quite easily. Luckily, because it is a cadence sensor, oh, here we go. No, that's not that bad at all, really. But let's do an air test just to confirm how much of those fat tyres are going to stop the vibrations going through my ass. Up his ass.
I've had worse.
Great thing about fat tyre e-bike as well is that you don't have to worry about the ground. If the ground does get a bit rough, then it's going to be fine. Ooh, well, that was me. That horn's loud. Let's do it again. That is loud. Oh my God, that's the loudest e-bike horn I've ever had. We're at the hill. This is 250 watts, so it shouldn't get up, but it is 50 Newton meter. I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, so I'm in first gear, so I'm not doing any help. I'm just spinning to get it going. We've got the speed up though. I've got my GPS down there in the little phone holder you get. There it is. That's quite nice. We're getting up to 15 now. Ooh, we might get up here. Don't want to speak too soon. Starting to make a weird noise then, it's like gurgling. Right, slowing down, but easily past the fat tree in the grip box. 10 miles an hour. Okay, don't like this. Don't like this bit. 8 miles an hour. Or 7 according to GPS. Still not helping though, I'm just spinning to keep the motor going. We're gonna get up though, to be fair. Well done, little A-Spadz. It is little, by the way. Right, we'll get a time. And up the hill. And off we go. Cross the line. That was not bad at all. Up to 17 miles an hour. He gave us a bit of extra power then. I think he kind of forgot. Because they kind of know how much power you need, so they give more power. A lot of bikes, if you take the back wheel off the ground and pull the throttle, it doesn't really go that fast because it knows it needs no power to do that. So not a bad time at all for a totally legal e-bike, but even better news is that actually when I went up that hill, I was in normal mode, and if you go into the computer settings, you can go to eco mode and power mode. So after the main test of this bike, I'd recharged the battery, took it back to the hill, and got a new time on power mode, and it did better. Well, yeah, well done for getting up that hill. It means, obviously, if you put your own effort in, you should be able to conquer most hills, and more hills than your average 250 watt bike. So well done. Anyway, let's see who can ride this bike and how heavy it is. Height wise, obviously no adjusting. I'm 5'9". My heels are flat to the floor. I'd say that if you're about 5'4", you could easily get on this on your tiptoes, maybe even shorter. However, at the highest point there, you can see my knees are fairly high. So if you are much over 6 foot, you might feel a bit silly on it. It's got a maximum load. It's got a good buzzer. It's got a maximum load of 180 kilograms, which is good because it can take 2 people. And its weight is about 34 kilograms, which is about middle weight for this kind of bike, if I can find somewhere to pick it up. So you can pick it up 3, 4, 5, but it's awkward. Woo. So yeah, it does feel pretty small. Like, my legs are coming up. I don't quite feel stupid on it. And what you need to do is keep it in gear 7, so your legs aren't spinning around, so you don't look like a loony.
You're a loony.
Gears, by the way, pretty standard Shimano Tawny, 7-speed, nothing special there, but they do the job, as I always say. The screen is very visible. It's not like mega sunny, but it's quite bright, and I can easily see it. I can definitely see it better than I can see my phone right now, but that's because of the angle of the phone bag. I quite like these phone bags, actually. They keep your phone nice and secure and away from all the rain. And it's also a bag, so you can like put stuff in it as well. Let's have a look down there. See, the phone's up there. The only problem is though, what can happen is, and it's just happened, when you're putting it in, your phone goes upside down, so it rotates. So let me show you how to fix that. It's an easy fix. You probably will have to work this out yourself, but still. Right, so it's upside down now, and it's also lost the big screen. But if you kind of shove it down like that, it comes back again, and then you're just gonna hope it doesn't happen again when you zip it up. It's definitely worth having a look around this bike because it is a cool looking bike. As I said before, it's like a motorbike. So we've got a nice chunky stand. We've got foot pegs for a passenger, which is nice because quite often bikes have a back seat but forget to put the foot pegs on, and they fold up, which is nice. Pedals, decent metal, battery, nice bag. You've got a little zip here so you can get little things in there, and then you've got a zip on the other side which opens up the whole of the volume, and then you've got the bag on top, which is also a phone holder. You got a nice chunky front light, which in theory has got a high beam and a low beam, but the high and the low beam aren't really that far apart. It's more like this one's focused and this one's spread out. But my favorite bit is this seat. It is actually really comfortable and nice and long. So when I'm on it here, my son can easily fit here, and there's a bit to hold on to there if he doesn't really want to hold on to me. And as you can see, we've got metal mudguards, plus this resin mudguard, can't have too many mudguards, and low rolling resistant tyres, which are 4-inch fat tyres, which is nice because usually 4-inch fat tyres do have high rolling resistance and it kind of sucks the life out of the rollability of the bike, but this actually rolls really well, which is really rare for a fat tyre bike. It also means it'll help out with the range as well. But look at it, it looks ace, doesn't it? It is tough to ride without pedal assist. Pedal assist 1, very slow, it just basically stops at 4 miles an hour. It's 2, 7, 3 is a bit more. It's only 8 though. 4, about 11 miles an hour. And then obviously pedal assist 5 is the full. Basically, if you're riding this bike, you don't really want to be going in anything less than pedal assist 5, but it does kick in quite nice. I like the lights on this because there's a little trigger at the front on the left hand side, which is the lights, so I can turn the lights on and off. So you can actually flash people on it, like going, bup, bup. That's quite cool. Another way to flash people is if the lights are off, you can have the high beam ready on, and then you can just pull the trigger and go like you would normally. But if the lights are already on, you've got to go up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay. Oh! Good one, isn't it? Let's see how fast we can go with a bit of pedalling. So you're going 23, 24, 24, and that's without trying that hard. But like I say, it is a slight hill. I'll try and do it again on the flat one. But these tyres do have good rolling resistance. They're very silent. A lot of tyres, like the knobbly ones, they're like brrrr. They sound like a B-52 bomber. But yeah, these are quite good. I like these. Should help the range. Talking of range, I reckon it's got a range of 100 kilometres. It's funny how many bikes with their range get dead on 100 kilometres. We'll check that out at the end, see what I get. But yeah, the battery is 15.6 amp hours, 48 volts, which gives a watt hours 748.8, and it is easily removable. Let's check that out now. It's not the kind of bike that you'd want to carry upstairs to get charged. Luckily, you can remove the battery. Well, yeah, just slot it in the slot, unlock it, slide it off, and to put it back on again, slot it on, slide it down, relock it.
In theory.
Oh, no. Damn. Is it on? Oh, it's not on. Ah. Ah. Oh, man. Is that on it? Oh, bloody hell. I can't get the battery to stay on. For some reason, that isn't lining up. Oh, I think that's it. Right, done it. Right, you're going to put it on. And then you're going to knock it into place. And you'll be able to tell if it's worked because this won't move out. So when I lock it, there we go, it didn't move. If the metal pushes it outwards, then it's not on properly. God, that was harder than expected. So you don't need the key to run the bike, but luckily the battery is easily removable, so you can just take that with you if you're going in the shops, or take it upstairs into your apartment if you have to have the bike locked away downstairs. Right, now we've got a bit of a flat. So what kind of speed? 17, 18. But I can feel it's like it's just hard to pedal faster. Going a bit uphill now. So you put a bit of effort in, you can get like 17. Because what you don't want on a nice bike like this, especially if this is bought by a youngster, you don't want people sprinting up to you, knocking you off the bike and having the bike. You want to be able to kind of get away. A while back, I had the S-Scooter SX 250, which is kind of marketed as a moped that 14-year-olds can ride. But the problem with that is that the pedaling really didn't help at all at 15 miles per hour. So you couldn't really get anywhere over 15.5 miles an hour. Whereas this, you can push it a bit more. So at least the person trying to get your bike has got to be a bit faster. Check out that horn again. So loud. And that's got a rear light's baked into it as well. So you don't need your own batteries. And it is a brake light. The hand grips, they're quite nice actually. They haven't got palm rests, but they're a bit squidgy. Fairly comfortable. The seat, so far, now I've got to this point in the test before and being a bit uncomfortable, but it feels pretty good. The front suspension's tuned quite nice, considering you can't turn it off. You don't want it too squidgy. Right, let's test out these hydraulic brakes. They are 2-piston, so pretty standard as far as hydraulic brakes are concerned. No one behind us. Let's do it at this bus stop. And 20 miles an hour. Oh, they're loud. People probably think I fell off my bike now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Skid marks, luckily, on the floor. So, not amazing brake performance. It started quick, but I think it was more the tyres than the brakes. Usually brakes get like that when you get a bit of like water and dust on the brake pads. You do get some free brake pads, I think, in the box. Let's have a quick look. It's a massive box, and it is not a widescreen TV. Is this a trick to make people not want to steal it? Because I'd rather steal an 8K TV. Here's the packing, pretty standard. In the box we got pedals, we got the manuals, we got a 2-amp charger, we got a toolkit, we got reflectors, we got a couple of bags, one of which is a phone holder. Now this is no reason to buy it, but the reason the box was so big is because the front wheel is already on, the light is already on, this is pretty much already assembled. All I've got to do is put the pedals on and the handlebars and the bags and the reflectors. But that's easy, isn't it? I'm well happy. Now, some of you might be watching this review thinking, oh, you know what, I'd love that, but I'd want to get it faster. Is it possible? And I asked them, and they said no. Now, it should be possible to unlock most bikes in theory, because most bikes that either have something in the settings to unlock, and now these settings are greyed out, you can't change the speed or the wheel size. Other bikes have like a little wire connector that you can disconnect, and that will make it faster. You could do that on the e-scooter SX250, and it made it such a cool bike. It was already cool, but it made it a bit better for Alabama, obviously. Now this one doesn't have that, I'm told, but that connector is often on a wire that is limiting the speed. So if you were to cut that wire, or even put your own connector on it, then technically you could delimit this bike, because all 250 watt bikes can go faster than 15.5, usually a normal 250, and a weak one as well could probably go about 19 to 20. So this one, considering the torque getting up the hill, could probably go low 20s, like 23. I love this bike to be able to go 23. But as it is, going 15.5 and 16-ish, it is very cool. It is a nice little cruise. And it doesn't kangaroo, it doesn't go over 16 and then jarringly cut out, because I'm never trying very hard, and because I'm just not trying very hard, the motor's just staying constant, giving us 15 to 16. Of course, most people don't really go much faster than 15 miles an hour on a bike. They can. So when your mates think, oh no, we need to run away from the gang of rollerbladers, and they're racing away, you might struggle to keep up a bit. You catch them in the long run. Battery's going well, still full bars. Overall though, I've got to say, I like this bike. I think it's really cool. I think it looks ace. I do love this kind of style of bike. It's a shame that bigger people struggle to ride them and not look silly, but it is my favourite style of bike, and I love being able to ride it knowing that I am totally legal and no one's gonna try and take it off me. Well, no one with a policeman's hat on anyway. And I think for €1,000, and hopefully there'll be a discount code as well, so check the description. There'll be a link in the description to purchase this. But yeah, for €1,000-ish, I think it's a really good buy. It's comparatively cheap. It's not cheap, but compared to other ones of its style, it's fairly cheap. The motor is, you can hear a bit of motor noise, must mention that, but I quite like the motor noise on it. It almost sounds a bit like a very quiet motorbike. But yeah, it's a very refined little bike, hydraulic brakes, nice colour screen. The wires are very tidy, quality metal mudguards and things like that. But let's check in and see what kind of range I got. Okay, so the range has been pretty good. I've done about 16 miles and we've just gone down to 3 bars, and that's with me, over 100 kilograms. I've had my son on the back as well for a few miles. We've been in a mix of normal mode and power mode, and we've gone up obviously a few hills. So all in all, in full power, I wouldn't be surprised if we could get over 30 miles an hour easy on this. And if you were lighter than me, not going up so many hills and using a lower pedal assist, obviously you could get loads more. Now I think I'm going to use this point when I do the range to also sum up the negatives of the bike, and I want to try my best to come up with some proper negatives and not just do what some people think are negatives, which is basically saying things like it's not going to be as good as a £2,000 bike. That's not a negative, yeah, because people are still paying €1,000 for this. So for your €1,000, what might you not like? The brakes are incredibly squeaky. I know that can be fixed, and it tends to happen when you get dust or water on the brake pads, but still it came like that, and it's kind of embarrassing when you come to a stop. That front light is cool, but the difference between high beam and low beam isn't that great. Whilst the pedal assist comes in really well, it does behave a bit erratically sometimes. Sometimes when it's going down a hill and it doesn't need the power, it doesn't come back again straight away. If you carry on pedaling, you need to kind of stop pedaling, almost to kind of reset it, and then you start pedaling again, and then it'll come in. So if you feel it cuts out, it could be that. Also, it did make a bit of a weird noise at one point when it went, so I didn't like the sound of that. But it is a no-name motor, and obviously at the low price of the bike, there's the usual stuff like the gears are pretty standard. The motor, like I just said, is no name. But all in all, for the price, it's not bad at all. I really do like it. And lastly, when you're thinking about this price point and its competitors, you might want to take a look at the Hitway bike that we had, also the Evercross bike, both of which were cheaper, but I'm not sure they had the same spec as this, but they're definitely worth a look if you're into this kind of e-bike, but neither of those could take a passenger. And speaking of passengers, let's get the thoughts of someone who's actually been a passenger on this very bike. What do you think of it then?
Good, but not so much.
What do you mean?
Good, the styles look really cool and I like it, but there's nothing to hold on to.
Nothing to hold on to?
If I hold that, I can imagine I see myself doing full backflips and landing on my face. If I was an older kid, I would be fine holding on to the back, but it's a really cool looking bike. Yee.